What's up, guys? So a lot of you have this single point of failure in your life where you kind of set yourself up from the beginning based on your self-perception and the way you talk to yourself and like the way you perceive value as it relates to who you are. And I want to kind of talk about how to get over that and how to overcome that through the concept of, and work with me here. I know this doesn't sound, it sounds douchier than it actually is, but irrational self-confidence, right? And this is a tool that you can use and help yourself understand, because it sounds manipulative, like self-manipulation at first, or it sounds like trying to become something you're not on the surface value, and that's not what I'm saying at all. And you'll see why as I kind of explain this. But it is kind of a way of affirming to yourself and that you are capable of accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, even though it seems impossible and it seems like something that you could never do, or you can't do, or you're scared to do, whatever it is. And I'll use some examples that I've done in my life. And like I said, I'm not doing this in any way to sound douchey. This is not like go out there and be a douchebag kind of a thing or anything like that. This is nothing to do with the way anything impacts other people. I always preach about treating people with respect and everything like that. This is all internal exercises or concepts that you use on yourself to give yourself a mindset shift and achieve anything you want, and ways that I've kind of done that. And I've been doing this for probably the last 10 years or so, maybe a little less. It started with my weight loss journey and overcoming my drastic weight gain that I experienced getting out of the military. I had been hit with a lot of self-confidence the way my military career ended. It didn't really end on my terms. It ended because of injuries and things of that nature. And my confidence took a hit because of that. And then my perception of myself took a huge dip based on my physical fitness and the way I let it slide, which is, taking ownership, completely my fault. You know what I mean? And that's the first thing I always preach for everybody, is taking ownership of what's wrong in your life and understanding that everything that is wrong in your life is your fault, because there's a lot of power in that. And that's how we do overcome things, is giving ourselves the power of saying, I did this to myself and it's on me to take it back. It's a very powerful thing. And then you get to a point of, okay, now I've admitted all my faults, and I've admitted that I've screwed up and I've done all these things wrong. How do I fix them? Because that in and of itself, causing all the problems in your life and taking ownership of that, some people look at that as, okay, I screwed up and I am a screw up. This is all on me. And then they don't know what to do with it from there. And that's kind of where this irrational self-confidence concept comes from. I wish there was a better way to describe it, but I really don't have one. But I do like it. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of a fun thing for me, even if it kind of sounds like douchebaggery off the rip. I don't know. So basically, what you have to do is find out your goals and find out what you want to do, and you need to convince yourself that you can accomplish them, no matter how challenging they are, no matter how drastic they seem. Because the way I look at it is, and this may be true or not, you can sit outside of this and admit, I'm never going to be supermodel good looks guy, but I can put myself next to somebody who is drastically more handsome than me, and I can say, this guy has value in this area, but I have equal value, if not more, because there are other things that I bring to the table. Yeah, he may have me beat in the looks department or the fitness department or the athletic ability department or whatever it is, but there are other things that I can do too. There are other skills that I have, and there are other valuable assets that I have in life, because we're not all created the same and we're not all created equal. But the way I look at it as, if another human being is capable of accomplishing somebody, why couldn't I also do that? Yes, I was not born with the same genetics as everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't have the facial or bone structure as, some movie star. I don't have the athletic ability of some, genetic freak, NFL or basketball player. I'm never going to be 7 feet tall. I'm never going to have this. I'm never going to have that. But I do have other things that I have going for me, intangibles or tangibles, however you want to look at it, because that's what a lot of us only look at. We only look at our tangibles, right? I am, a guy might say, I am not 6 feet tall, so therefore I am not a valuable person. Because there are people online who say that you are only a valuable person if you're 6 feet tall, which is bullshit. It's absolutely incorrect and wrong. That is one thing about you, and one thing does not define one specific person. I lost all my hair in my 20s, therefore I am not a valuable person. That is incorrect. That is not true. Just because you are bald doesn't mean anything. There are plenty of guys making it in the world who are bald. You know what I mean? And you can do things to escalate your value and overcome that. And these are things that are tangible things that really, at the end of the day, don't matter. I'm not able to jump as high as a basketball player. Who cares? I'm not able to run as fast as so and so. All these things are tangibles that do not make you up as a person, and really, at the end of the day, matter. Because what you need to do is you need to take some time and do exercises to understand what your actual value is in this world. And there's a lot of you out there with low self-esteem, and I was one of them for a long time, that wallowed in self-pity and thought that I was worthless, or you guys might think you're worthless because of certain factors and things that you've been told and things that you have not accomplished in life, maybe failed at after trying, whatever it is. These are things that you look at on a surface level and say, this defines me, and it does not. Every failure in your life is just an opportunity to learn. It is just you getting reps. It is just you overcoming something and trying to find out how you can accomplish that later. Here's what I did wrong, and it caused me to fail. And if you went back and you tried it with a different approach, a lot of you might find that that thing you failed at, you would end up succeeding at. But a lot of us try something, we fail, and we get discouraged. So you need to sit and you look at all your wins, all your failures, everything that you've done, everything that you've accomplished, and what you bring to the table in this world, and what kind of value you can give. Because we all have value to give. I don't care how low you are on yourself and how down you are on yourself. I have a kid of my own who deals with self-image issues, and would think that he's like on a surface level not valuable, and that is not true. You got to look at different skills and different intangibles that you have, and I can't answer this for you. This is something you need to sit and answer yourself, but you really need to sit and you need to take a good, hard, objective look at your life and see the things that you have succeeded and failed at, and what you've been good at and what you haven't. So I can only use myself for an example. What are some tangible skills that I have to start off with? Well, I have one thing I'm really good at is I'm good at communication. Am I perfect at it? No, absolutely not. But I know that I can communicate at a high level. That comes from a lot of time spent reading when I was a kid, absorbing media, talking to people older than myself, things like that, being coached and being mentored in this way, whether I knew I was or not, because I look at interactions I had when I was a kid, And even I didn't know it at the time, and the person even talking to me at the time didn't know it. But the way I was trying to pick up on the way that they communicated and the lessons they could learn. That's one thing that I have, is I've always looked for lessons in every interaction. I'm being coached in that moment, whether that person knows it or not. I'm learning from them. I'm taking things away from that interaction and that conversation. So I picked up a lot of communication skills along the way. I have a knack for helping people, which is why I feel called to making these videos and helping you guys out and things like that, and wanting to work and coach with you guys. So that's another, I guess that's more of an intangible skill that I have, or you can call it tangible. I really can't think of a way to numerically calculate my impact on communicating with people and helping them see the big picture and see these things in themselves. But that's a skill that I have. And there was a time in my life where I was a more quiet, introverted person, and maybe I wouldn't even have believed that about myself. But through the understanding of irrational self-confidence and affirming these things to myself, I developed this in myself. And I awakened this kind of sleeping giant in myself, where I could kind of work with people and talk to people. When I was in high school, or when I was a younger guy, I was scared to death of talking to other people. I swore I just hated people. I didn't want to be around people. I was an introvert. You could have locked me in a room and by myself for years at a time, and I would have been fine with that. I would have been more than happy to be alone because I didn't like talking to people. I was scared to death to approach a girl. I didn't have any interest in making a new friend. And I realized one day that this is not the way that humans are meant to live, and that's not the way we are supposed to be. I had to embrace the fact that we are social creatures and that we're meant to work together and be around each other and bring value to each other's lives. So what do I need to do? I need to overcome this. I need to recognize this as a problem, and I need to develop this skill in myself. And it's horrifying to some people, including me at that time. And I just had to begin to tell myself irrationally that I am like the best communicator and the biggest people person that you had ever met in your life. And it was a skill that I needed to hone, and I needed to practice, and I needed to prove to myself. And it's crazy the way this whole thing worked. I just started talking to people and thinking to myself in my mind, and if this sounds psychotic, so be it, I don't care. Because that's another skill you need to overcome. You need to overcome the fact that you have this crazy self-doubt and that you sound like a crazy person and other people think you're nuts. You need to not give a shit what other people think. And that in itself is another skill. I'll get to that one later. But I had to overcome this thought that I was not good at communicating. I have verbal skills. I knew this because I can write, I can read I could read at a higher level than my grade my entire life. I've immersed myself in books since I was a kid. If this is something that you have not done, I recommend starting now. Start reading, start writing, start journaling, whatever. Write short fiction, use it as an exercise, I don't care. But you will only develop your skills as a communicator the more you read, the more you write, the more you practice communication. And get out and talk to people, random people, strange people, people you don't know, people that you don't have anything in common with, so you think. But this is a skill you can develop. You just start practicing, you start communicating, and while you're doing it, you're telling yourself, I am the best at this. I have high value at this. I'm really good at this. This person is lucky to be talking to me. You're not treating that person bad. You're telling yourself this as a skill. Maybe it sounds douchey to some of you. Maybe it sounds crazy to sit there and think highly of yourself. It's such an alien fucking concept to some people that it's like a negative thing to tell yourself that you have value and that you're bringing something to the table when you talk to people. I think that's the shittiest way to approach life, but a lot of you are going to disagree with me and think that it sounds self-centered and sociopathic or whatever, and I don't really give a shit about that. But that's what you need to do. You need to tell yourself, I have value. This person is getting value from me when they talk to me. How lucky they are. And you treat them with dignity, and you treat them with respect, and you mean it, because there's value they can give you too. This is reciprocal. This is transactional. They have things and skills and things they can offer to you that you don't have. And you have things, you have skills, and you have value that you can offer to other people that they don't have. So it's not like everybody in the world is just lucky as shit to be talking to you, that's the psychotic thing. But it's like, look at, we're connecting here. We're connecting. They're taking from me. That's what a connection is. You plug an outlet into the wall. You're taking power. You know what I mean? We're giving each other power here. You know what I mean? I'm taking power to either pass it along to somebody else. I'm giving them power. They can pass to somebody else. That's the way these networks can, come together. And that's the way societies get built. We take value from each other. We learn things from each interaction. Another thing, when I approached my weight loss, I had to basically convince myself that I was the grittiest, toughest person on the planet, and that no matter what kind of hunger was thrown at me, I can persevere. I can overcome that. No matter what kind of craving I had that I knew was wrong, but we've all had them. We've all had that holy shit, I need a pizza feeling when you can't afford it right now. You're in the middle of trying to cut this weight off, this egregious amount of body fat that you're carrying on yourself, and you need to tough through it, just like toughing through a hard run or something like that. I just gotta grit my teeth and I gotta fucking go. This is something that you have to mentally train yourself for, and you have to convince yourself that I am the toughest motherfucker on the planet, and I can get through this and I can overcome it. It can be done. Are you going to become the fastest, fittest, sexiest man alive on the cover of People magazine? Absolutely not. Probably not. I will never be there. That's okay. That's okay. Because the guy who is on there, there's things that I can do that he cannot. There's things that I've endured that would break him. I have to tell myself this. This is how I gain my self-confidence, and that feeds on other people. That bleeds off onto other people. Other people will pick that up on you, and they will see your value, and you'll inspire that in them. They'll ask you for help, and you can do that, and that's how we get better with each other. This is, like I said, it's all transactional. This is not a self-fulfilling kind of concept where you're just trying to elevate yourself over everybody else and go God mode or something like that. You're trying to get in these transactional relationships where you have a lot of value, and you can bring something to the table to somebody else and then get what they bring to you as well. Reciprocal relationships. Overcoming my nicotine addiction. I've done a video on that. I had to tell myself I am the grittiest person alive. I can do this. No one is mentally tougher than me. I can sit here and I can put that away. I can throw it out. I can go cold turkey, and I can stop, and I did. Overcoming fears. Same thing. I had a crippling fear of roller coasters for a long time. You can laugh at me all you want. I don't care. It's a thing I had, and I know a lot of people have it. And I had to train myself. I used to do this thing, and it sounds dumb, it sounds douchey, it sounds ridiculous, but I'd say I'm going psycho mode to go on, and it's like I flipped a switch in my head. And I'd get on this roller coaster that would, looking at it scared the shit out of me. Inside, I'm dying, but I'm telling myself and everyone around me that I'm a psychopath and I can do it. And I wouldn't smile. I would look crazy. I don't care. But it was the way for me to overcome this thing. Because I don't want to live my life in fear of anything. Even something so dumb and trivial as that. Like, it's easy to go through your life not riding a roller coaster, right? Like, I just don't care. And who cares, right? It's not even a big deal. But I just don't want to live in fear. I just want to overcome these things. Because the more you fear things, and then you don't have a proclivity to experience them, one day you're going to be on your deathbed and say, I don't know what that's like And I don't want that feeling. I would rather feel the fear in the moment and say I overcome it and just do it laughing maniacally like a crazy person. You know, and I'm self-aware that I look nuts when I'm doing this. I don't care. I don't care what other people think, but it was my way of coping and overcoming it. You can call it cope or whatever you want down in the comments. But guess what? I learned that I love it. I tried something I was afraid of. I looked like an idiot while doing it because I had to convince myself I was like the fucking Joker or something like that. But it got me through it, and I was able to overcome it, and now it's a thing that I love and I can enjoy with my kids, or I can enjoy with my friends. That I would, you know, went through years of high school. Think of girls who dumped me or didn't give me a chance when I was young because I had to admit that I was afraid of a roller coaster. How stupid that is. And I have the self-awareness, and I have no shame. I'm in here putting myself out on the internet. A lot of you have a fear of just coming on and doing this. A lot of you have a lot to say. A lot of you have a lot of value that you can throw out into the universe and help other people. And you won't do it. And that's a goddamn shame. You know, because you're afraid of putting the camera on because someone might see it and say something at your 20-year high school reunion or something. You're worried about judgment from people who don't even like themselves. You know what I mean? Oh, I might get some asswipe might leave a comment in my video. Some person who has, imagine having the time to, I have never left a negative comment on a YouTube video in my life. I don't have the time or the care to do that. But you're afraid of that. You're afraid of somebody leaving a comment on a YouTube video that might be negative. I don't know this person. I don't give a shit about them. So you need to affirm to yourself, whatever it is you want to overcome, that you can do it. That you have the power, like He-Man, to overcome these things. If you're fat and you're out of shape, guess what? You have the power. You can be the best at it. I will be the best motherfucker at losing weight on this planet. If you're afraid to approach girls or women or whatever, you know, for you single guys out there, you need to convince yourself, and you need to get out there and you need to do it and see that it's not that hard and you can actually be good at it. You need to develop your self-confidence. You need to learn to talk. You need to learn to communicate. There's skills that you can acquire to become, if any other person can do it, so can you. If I can lose 100 pounds, so can you. If an introverted kid like me can learn to approach a girl and find a wife and have kids with her, so can you. If I can quit an addiction, so can you. If I can learn a skill and apply for a job and get it, so can you. If I can turn on a camera and record a YouTube video and talk about shit that a lot of people may or may not care about, so can you. My dream is to write a book, write a novel. I'm in the process of it. I'm screwing up, I'm making stupid ass mistakes along the way, but there are plenty of idiotic people out there, or people who, you know, feel like I'm more skilled at than writing, who have published books. I've read some shitty books that I swear to God I could make that better, you know. And maybe that's right or maybe that's wrong, maybe that's douchebaggery, I don't know. But I swear I can do it. I can do it better. Irrational self-confidence. I'm gonna get it done. It's gonna be killer. Does it sell or not? I don't know. It's gonna be out there at some point, hopefully within the next year. But it's something that I'm working on, that I put off for too long. I kicked myself for it. Now, you know what? I'm an awesome writer and I'm going to do it. So talk to yourself. Convince yourself. It's okay. It's okay. You're not a douchebag for it. You're not a self-centered, egotistical psychopath for it. It is a great way to overcome just about anything in your life. And you don't have to go out and you don't have to tell people about it, and you don't have to pretend you're better than anybody. That's not what it's about. It is just the fact that you understand that you are valuable. You have valuable things that you can offer to other people, and that you can offer to yourself, no matter who you are, because we all got them. So sit down, take some time, find out what your value is, because you have it, and get it on paper and start working on it. All right, that's all I got for today. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what an asshole I sound like after this video. I do not care. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Later.